Can you remember what you were doing when you were 12 years old? Well, Maria Victoria Haynow met the love of her life when she was just 12. His name was Pablo Escobar, one of the richest and most successful drug lords in history. And did you know Pablo married Maria when she was only 15 years old? Today, we are going to explore 20 things you didn't know about Pablo Escobar. So sit tight and watch till the end of the video to find out how he made such a huge empire. Without any further delay, let's hop into the video. Teenage thug. Pablo Escobar's parents were farmers and school teachers. According to rumors, he began his criminal career as a teenager by selling counterfeit degrees. Soon he started selling stolen radios and looted tombstones. Pablo Escobar was arrested for the first time in 1974 after a car heist. However, he had already risen through the ranks as a drug dealer and created the drug cartel known as the Medellin Cartel 2 years before his arrest. This was just the beginning, and you'll be amazed at the amount of money he turned over in a week. $420 million in a week. During its prime, the Medellin Cartel ruled the cocaine business. Pablo Escobar was earning almost $420 million per week at that point. This elevated him to the ranks of the world's wealthiest and most powerful people. He led a lavish lifestyle that included expensive mansions and private jets. According to some sources, he even attempted to pay off Colombia's $10 billion debt in exchange for his release from any extradition proceedings. He was even featured in the richest magazine as one of the wealthiest people on earth. He was so rich that, well, you'll find out after number 18. Burnt $2 million to warm his family. During his early 1990s run, Escobar allegedly burnt approximately $2 million to keep his dollar warm during cold nights. Despite his best efforts, even Escobar could not spend all the money, and much of it was stored in warehouses and fields. Pablo would also blindfold his family every 2 days as they went from place to place because he didn't want them to know where they were. Properties. Pablo Escobar possessed a massive fleet of aircraft, helicopters, and yachts, as well as multiple homes around the country. Colombian police alone seized some of his assets, which included 141 residencies, 142 aircraft, 20 helicopters, and 32 boats. Pablo Escobar's previously magnificent mansion located in the heart of the city was called the Monaco Building. The building has 12 apartments and 35 parking spots, as well as additional amenities including 2 swimming pools and a tennis court. Unfortunately, the structure was bombed in 1988, kicking off a major rivalry between the Medellin Cartel and Cali Drug Cartel. Tried to run for Congress. Moravians felt abandoned by the Colombian government in the 1980s. Meanwhile, Pablo Escobar entered the scene and directed the construction of 1,000 additional homes, a soccer field, and a sewage system. According to stories, he discovered common ground with the poor and aimed to use this to gain their support in his bid for Congress. After 2 years in office, he was compelled to resign. Escobar ordered the death of the justice minister who exposed him in retaliation for his expulsion from Congress. The authorities quickly retaliated by capturing Escobar's henchmen. This marked the start of a full-fledged conflict between the state and the cartel. As a result, 4,000 people were killed, including 3 Colombian president candidates, an attorney general, an estimated 200 judges, and 1,000 police officers. La Catedral. This one has a complete backstory. When Pablo was condemned to jail, he put so much pressure on the government that they allowed him to build his own prison and live in luxury there for a time. What a gentleman! He turned La Catedral into jail while putting everything we wished for in our homes. La Catedral was built in such a way that assassinations were almost impossible. Instead, he continued to smuggle and grow his business from his apparent jail. It had a gigantic dollhouse, a football field, a jacuzzi, a bar, and a large telescope through which Pablo could watch his daughter while on the phone with her family. For 13 months, Pablo and his pals were imprisoned there. 80% of the world's cocaine market. Although Pablo Escobar operated in only a few nations, his cartel once supplied up to 80% of the world's cocaine market. At its prime, the Medellin Cartel trafficked enormous amounts of cocaine every week all over the world. Bombing of Avianca Flight 203. According to investigations, plastic explosives were used to destroy Avianca Flight 203. Pablo Escobar ordered the attack, assuming that the jet was carrying presidential candidate Cesar Gaviria Tello. Some say Pablo suspected that some of his drug trafficking competitors were aboard the flight. Whatever his motive, the blast killed over 100 people and left no survivors. This wasn't a new thing for Pablo, as he had made a proper policy for doing his business. Plata o plomo. Escobar's way of handling his problems was plata o plomo, meaning silver or lead. Also means bribes or bullets. While he preferred the former, he had no qualms about the latter option, earning a reputation for ruthlessness. And this policy worked well for him as he became successful in achieving his goals. The richest drug dealer. Escobar is the wealthiest criminal in history, having amassed an estimated net worth of $30 billion by the time of his death, equivalent to $64 billion as of 2021. He outranks other infamous drug lords such as Amado Carrello Fuentes, Dawood Ibrahim Cascar, and Mexico's Joaquin El Guapo Guzman. Photographed at the White House. Pablo Escobar and his cartel associates began dealing cocaine in the early 1970s. Interestingly, as a civilian, he had a rare photo with his family standing in front of the White House in 1981. Moreover, at the same time, Escobar and his family took a first-class flight to Disneyland. Do you know what else he took on a first-class trip or first-class plane? Watch number 9. Clever way of smuggling. According to some stories, one of Pablo Escobar's smuggling trademarks was concealing cocaine inside of old plane tires, making it difficult for police to track during those years. The most incredible aspect of his smuggling invention was bringing cocaine to the United States through submarines. Yes, this person tried everything to sneak drugs. Intelligent, but evil. Rubber bands worth more than $2,500. Pablo Escobar would use a lot of rubber bands to keep his cash intact because he couldn't deposit all of his money into the banks. Thus, Pablo would also spend more than $2,500 a month only on rubber bands to keep his paper money. Neat and clean. Two former US Drug Enforcement Agency officers tell this astonishing story about how they tracked down Pablo Escobar. Escobar, according to the two agents, had a thing for spotless, well-proportioned restrooms. In fact, every time they stormed a safe house frequented by Escobar, they discovered a strangely dazzling bathroom with brand new fixtures. He owned a private zoo. Escobar acquired a variety of luxurious estates, the most renowned of which was a 7,000-acre hacienda in Naples located between Bogota and Medellin. It was reported to have cost $63 million and contained a soccer field, dinosaur sculptures, man-made lakes, a bullfighting arena, the burnt ruins of a classic car collection destroyed by rival cartels, an airfield, a tennis court, and a zoo. The mansion was topped by the plane that he used on his first heroin trip to the United States. It was later stolen by locals and is now a famous tourist attraction. The Colombian government demolished Hacienda Naples buildings and facilities in 1993. After 2 decades, a private corporation leased the property and turned it into a massive amusement park. Escobar's relatives believe he committed suicide. It is unknown who fired the fatal shot into Pablo Escobar's ear. Pablo's relatives believe he committed suicide since Escobar always swore he would shoot himself through the ear if he couldn't flee. This is one of the most mysterious Pablo Escobar facts that we may never get an answer to. The modern Robin Hood. While US and Colombian officials painted Escobar as a criminal and terrorist who held the entire country captive, many pro-Colombians revered him as a generous philanthropist. When Pablo Escobar began to build homes for impoverished communities, he developed a Robin Hood reputation. He created hospitals, stadiums, and cheap housing. He was also a passionate soccer fan, having built over 60 soccer fields for kids and even sponsored local teams. When Pablo Escobar died, almost 25,000 people attended his funeral, with some believing him a saint and praying to him for blessings. This is one of the reasons why people liked him despite him being a criminal. He didn't know where to spend his money. Despite his best efforts, Escobar was unable to spend all of his earnings or give it to his family. Instead, Escobar's fortune was stashed away in fields and warehouses. According to his brother, around $2.1 billion of his fortune is lost each year. People are still looking for this money today. Would you believe there's still money of Pablo Escobar's to be found? If you do, comment money below if you think there is still a chance to find his money. Crazy vehicles. Pablo Escobar possessed a large number of aircraft and helicopters. MK3669X was one of them. Those aircraft can now be seen rusting away in the open as the king of cocaine has died. He also owned a DC-3, several TBM 700s, and a Piper Super Cub. Only a handful of rich can claim they have this many aircrafts in their lives. Died after his birthday. Escobar allegedly had a longer conversation with his son than he normally allowed himself in order to avoid being tracked down. But this happened a day after his 44th birthday, as he wanted to talk to his son a little longer. That was his own decision, because the DEA and Colombian Special Forces were on top of him 5 minutes later, so the legendary drug lord chose death for himself. Thanks for watching. You are such a legend if you made it to the end of this video. What is your opinion about Pablo Escobar? Do you think he was a good guy or a bad one? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you leave, make sure to like the video and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this. See you guys in the next one.